Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, and today we're going to be looking at a company that makes desktop computers that used to be synonymous with PC gaming, and that of course is Alienware. Let's see where they are in 2018, and really let's see if their computers are still worth buying in this day and age, or whether you should build on your own or just buy from somebody else, like really even Dell, which owns Alienware. Let's see. So just a heads up here, I am actually not that familiar at this point with Alienware's computers. I remember this big, ugly brick of a computer that is huge, and frankly, I don't think it looks very good. Though, if you look to this littler one, I think that looks like a pretty good computer. In fact, I'd be okay if that one of those was sitting on my desk. I actually kind of like that. Okay, so the one that I like there is just known as the Alienware Aurora. Then, of course, the one that I think is hideous is the Alienware Area 51, and they do have the Threadripper variant. In fact, one of the more recent big news things that came out of Alienware was actually back when Threadripper launched. I believe Alienware was actually their first partner that was actually, for a brief period, had exclusive rights to actually putting Threadripper processors in their computers. I believe Linus did a couple videos about that back when he had his first LTX convention, or whatever you want to call it. But they do still have the Threadripper Area 51 computer as well. Let's see. Ooh, prices. Wow. So the Area 51 Threadripper starts at $2,200. Starts at $2,200. Wow. Okay, let's see what that actually entails here. So can we talk for a minute how we're on the Alienware Threadripper Area 51 page, and even though these are all the Threadripper systems that they have available, the image they went with are all laptops. Really? Alienware? Really? Okay, so the base model here, this is the $2,200 variant, comes with 8 gigabytes of DDR4. 8 gigabytes. Wow. It comes with a 2 terabyte hard drive. All right, so you got plenty of space there. A GTX 1050 Ti. Oh boy. Oh, and of course we can't forget that it comes with the 1900X. That's the 8-core 16-thread variant. So you're getting essentially a 1700, a Ryzen 7 1700. Now, granted, you can upgrade this system to 1920X, 1950X. Fine, I'll give you that. But you're getting an 8-core 16-thread Ryzen processor. You're getting 8 gigabytes of memory and a GTX 1050 Ti. Wow, that's an awful deal. Wow, that's just a terrible deal. Wow. And you don't even get an SSD, so this thing isn't even going to really feel that fast when you're booting it up. It's going to feel like a hard drive, which I haven't really used in any of my main systems in a really long time because they're slow. So for an extra $1,100, we get a Threadripper 1950X, so we're getting our 16 cores and 32 threads at least. We're also getting 16 gigabytes of DDR4 RAM, solid, with a GTX 1070, so at least the upgrade, the $3,300 system, is gonna be able to game at very good quality, high resolutions, high refresh rates, all of that. It's just a ripoff still, and there's no reason you should buy any of these configurations because they are all universally overpriced for what they are, especially the entry level. My goodness. But they exist, and if you want to have a giant tower machine on your desk that is kind of cool looking, albeit overpriced, but cool looking, if you like giant towers, that is, then hey, spend your $2,200 plus for a system that should be competing with like $700, $800 systems, especially if you go with an Intel processor like the 8400 with a 1050 Ti. It's going to outperform a Threadripper in gaming. Before I move on here, I understand that the Threadripper system, if you're getting that particular system and you're needing a Threadripper processor, chances are that gaming might not really be the thing you're most interested in. But the thing is, Alienware is kind of a gaming-centric brand, so, you know, sure, whatever. Moving on. So the regular Alienware Area 51 here, by the way, again, Alienware, the laptops, these aren't laptops. Anyways, we're starting with an i7 7800X, which is a really strong processor, granted. But again, if you are just looking at gaming, this probably isn't the platform for you. Sure, it will game, and these especially, the Intel processors will game very well. But if you're just looking at gaming, look at the Auroras. They make a lot more sense, as well as saving you a lot of money. Regardless, you get a 7800X here, 8 gigabytes of DDR4 RAM running at 2400 megahertz, and again, that GTX 1050 Ti. For a brand that is centered around gaming, again, starting out with a 1050 Ti, it surprises me there's no 1060s in this lineup, like, at all. Jumps from the 1050 Ti to a 1070. And there's no in between, which is kind of surprising. So again, starting at that $1,900 7800X, you get 1050 Ti. Moving down, you get that same 2 terabyte hard drive as well. So overpriced again, but that's kind of what we expect with Alienware, isn't it now? So moving on to the Alienware Aurora desktop, which in my mind looks quite a bit better than the Threadripper system. These start at $950, and for that $950, you get a Core i5-8400, which, by the way, in gaming would outperform the Threadripper 1900X, unless you're doing a lot of other background tasks at the same time, in which case, maybe not. We still get that 1050 Ti, 4GB 1050 Ti. We still get the same 8 gigabytes of DDR4 RAM, and we get half the amount of storage here with a 1 terabyte 7200 RPM hard drive there. So for less than half the cost, we are going to get better gaming performance with the Aurora. And realistically, if you're only interested in gaming, you don't want to be on the Threadripper platform anyways. So being on the Intel Coffee Lake platform actually does afford you the opportunity to upgrade down the road to maybe something like an i7 8700. Now, this system is still overpriced a little bit, but it's definitely a lot closer to being competitive. And in my opinion, because it's not a gigantic tower, it's still, I'm sure, a somewhat large tower, but compared side by side with the Area 51, it's significantly smaller, so it's going to take up less desk space. You're going to get better gaming performance out of it. If you're looking at an Alienware system and you're looking at just gaming, it looks like the Aurora setup here would probably be the route to go. And just to clarify, Dell is competing with itself with the Dell brand. Even though they own Alienware, they still have some pretty good gaming PCs at, ironically, considerably better prices. For example, this second one here, we get an i5-8400 paired with 8 gigabytes again of DDR4 RAM. We get a 1 terabyte hard drive, but importantly here, we get a GTX 1060 3 gigabyte variant, all for more than $100 cheaper than the cheapest Alienware Aurora PC. The AMD ones aren't quite as compelling, especially because this first one is rocking an A10 9700, and then this second one here is a little bit more pricey than the cheapest Aurora. But point being here, Dell is not only competing with itself with the Dell brand, but in this case, at least in my mind, it's actually one-upping Alienware with a tower that is less polarizing with its aesthetics anyways. And finally, briefly, just looking at their Alienware 13 gaming laptops. I'm not really going to go through all of their laptops because laptops are not only inflated costs because of the form factors, but you're also... There's just a lot more to a laptop than looking at just its specs list. Things like, does it have a good keyboard? Does it have a terrible keyboard? All those other things come into play. Trackpads, just everything comes into play. Just looking at the base cost here, though, of the Alienware 13, you can already tell that it's not the best deal on the market, hands down. The 13-inch here starts at $1,500. And you do get a GTX 1050 Ti, but it's a 2 gigabyte variant, not the 4 gigabyte variant. You're getting a 7th generation i5. You're getting 8 gigabytes of DDR4 RAM again. You're getting a 256 gigabyte SSD. Okay. there's nothing special about this gaming laptop. In fact, there are a lot of gaming laptops out there now from other companies that are giving you a lot more performance in smaller form factors or equally small form factors, because just looking at this Alienware is not a thin gaming laptop, which can be a good thing or it can be a bad thing. It depends on your taste. Are you toting it around to class? Because if you are, then you probably want something thinner. But if you're just using it at home on a desk and then sometimes toting it over to a friend's house for a LAN party, then you might not mind the extra bulk, because it will save you on the sound of the cooling, because it'll have just overall better cooling performance. But Alienware laptops, they look nice, and I actually really do like the aesthetic of the Alienware laptops. They're just overpriced for the specs that they're giving you. So unless you, for some reason, just love maybe the keyboards, the trackpads, whatever, there's something else about the Alienware laptops that you just love and can't go without, I don't see any reason that you would actually want to go ahead and buy one of these laptops. Okay, so that has been a look at the current state of Alienware's gaming computers, especially their desktops, with a brief look over their laptops. So let me know in the comments down below. I'm very curious about this. Do you guys own Alienware computers? Are you planning on buying them? Have you owned them in the past? And if you have, let me know your experience. Let me know all those things down below. And of course, if you like this video and you want to see more like it, hey, give it a like, share, subscribe, comment. All those things help out the channel a lot. You can follow me on Instagram and on Twitter at Hoosier Hardware. And as always, I will let YouTube queue up a few more videos around me from my channel for you to watch. I'm Shaden with Hoosier Hardware, and I'll see you guys in the next video.